Hey Megan, this is Psychedelic Actualization. On this channel we talk about topics like self-realization, self-actualization, and working with psychedelics to live a more authentic and fulfilling life. I had a mushroom journey recently, which showed me that I'm burned out. And that's just one interpretation of what happened. But I want to share this story with you and also some reflections and some steps of integration that I'm going to take now. By the way, because the integration of this experience is where my life is changing, right? So if you're curious about how to integrate psychedelic experiences into your life, I wrote a workbook. It's called The 5 Steps to Embody Your Psychedelic Insights in Daily Life. You can download it for free if you're interested. So to back up a little bit, I published a life trip report here on this channel. And just at the very end, you can see some footage where I kind of physically broke down. And I want to kind of go deeper into this part of the experience because it was quite significant. And only after the experience, after it happened, I kind of realized more and more the significance of what was happening. Moving, it's almost scary to a bit. It's like very humbling. It's very humbling. Tried to get up and I'm forced to lay down again. So I consumed like 3.7 grams of wavy cap mushrooms, had a wonderful experience, like a typical psilocybin experience. And then during the come down, after like 5 or 6 hours, I physically broke down. And how it came about is like I felt some vibrations in my neck and in my body. And everything started to vibrate, and then I would just basically physically collapse. Like I didn't have enough strength anymore to stand up. I didn't even have enough strength to chew. I didn't have enough strength to keep air in my cheeks. Right? And that kept happening for like the next 5-6 hours until I fell asleep basically on that day. Which is quite unusual, right, for a psychedelic experience, which is quite unusual for a psilocybin experience. And kind of like in the experience itself, mentally I was fine. A little bit worried, a little bit scared, but like I was just like, okay, this is what it is now. It's scary, right? It's worrisome. But I basically don't care. But the next day I woke up, and I felt still so exhausted, so tired. And throughout the last week, I was so tired and so exhausted. I kind of like, my body was like telling me like, okay, you need to stop, right? And that's what I meant. There's different interpretations of that experience. The experience is just that, an experience of physically breaking down and then feeling exhausted for a week afterwards. Or maybe even longer than that. But like what I take out of the experience, how do I interpret it? That's the question, right? Do I seek for a physiological explanation of what happened? Do I just kind of shove it off and I distract myself and I say like, okay, this was a weird side effect and I don't care anymore? But it's like, what do I do with that experience? And for me, what it brought up afterwards was not just the exhaustion physically, but also mentally. I felt like I didn't want to do any work. I didn't want to do anything. I felt so demotivated, uninspired, just like so tired of everything, and so unhappy, like so ridiculously unhappy, without any reason. And all of these are kind of these like symptoms of what it brought up for me. Is like I might have pushed too far over the year. Like I've been sick for the whole year, and I still kept pushing and pushing and pushing and traveling and doing psychedelics journeys and working on my projects, right? But yeah, it's like it kind of showed me these like symptoms of burnout a little bit. Hey! What are you doing? What are you doing? Could stop eating my cables. Stop eating my cables. And I've talked about it with my coach, right? And I kind of reflected upon that experience and recognized, like, yeah, this is what I take out of this experience. This need for balance. I want to balance. I want to learn how I can rest properly, right? What does proper rest mean for you specifically? What does it mean for me specifically, right? It's a very interesting question. What does it mean to balance my life? To balance hobbies and things I do for fun with my work? Mentally, physically, socially, environmentally, right? All of these things are very interesting questions that this kind of breakdown inspired in me now. And I'm kind of very grateful for the mushrooms for that, right? It's not such a common phenomenon, but it's kind of like, the way I see it is like they kind of showed me what a burnout could look like if I would continue to push the way that I did right now over the past month and years. And I'm grateful for that. Instead of just like now unconsciously pushing it further and further and further, I can now take a step back through that very intense physical breakdown experience of the mushroom and kind of adjust my course and my actions. So this is kind of what I take out of the experience. But nevertheless, I still want to mention, it's like it's possible that there's so many other explanations. That's what's so interesting about the psychedelics, right? It's such a mystery to work with them. It can also be just like a simple physical explanation or some poisoning of the guy who didn't collect the right mushrooms and kind of put in some poisonous ones as well in the bag that I bought. So it's like, I don't know. We don't know. But this is what I take out of this experience and how the mushrooms showed me kind of like these symptoms of burnout. And as you see right here, my integration of this is that I'm gonna fly to Madagascar. I couldn't get my mind fixated on anything, so I just fixated on like, okay, I gotta leave and travel. And now I booked a flight to Madagascar to visit a friend and stay in a different culture and take some time off and balance it out. And I'm excited. This is kind of like a very practical step of integration. I just took all my life savings and I'm booking a flight to Madagascar to stay there for a month or two. And yeah, that's about it. Right? So next up, you're going to see me in Madagascar, hopefully. And until then, all the best on your journey. I'm curious, did you have any similar experiences with the mushrooms or with psychedelics where you've had kind of like a physical breakdown and it showed you deep exhaustion over a week or two afterwards? Because usually I feel very energized after psychedelic experiences. So this was kind of surprising and shocking to me. So yeah, that's about it from me today. As I said, if you're curious about a psychedelic integration workbook, a guide for your psychedelic integration, there's a link in the video description to download that for you for free. And otherwise, I'll see you in the next one. Blessings. This puppy is so cute. Like, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. It doesn't care. It just doesn't care about anything.